Hello there, and welcome to your weekly Soul Tribe Live. It's Power Coach Alicia here, and I am here to talk to you and share with you and teach you how to get rid of your victim story and choose to be a survivor. So, going to get my text message sent out here really quick. And by the way, if you are not on the text list, you definitely should text the word soul to the number 41372. Again, that's soul to the number 41372. When you do that, you will get a text on when we go live, and you'll make sure that you get all the trainings and everything that we have for you. Like, this is the place to be if you want to really step forward and get the results in your healing journey and putting yourself first. All right, hopefully I can get this to work because it is not being happy with me. Oh man, I gotta put on gloss too, or my lips are gonna be weird the whole time. So you guys get to stare at that. If you are live with me, please say hi in the comments. Remembering that any questions you have, if you shout them out in the comments as we are live here, I will respond to those. If you're on replay, you can just drop hashtag replay in the comments and you can ask your questions as well, but just be sure to tag me so that I see the questions that you have if you are on replay. Also, I always like to say play all out, right? So while you're with me, whether you're live or on replay, oh, my pig tried to eat my glass. That's awesome. Whether you're live or on replay with me, respond to the things that I'm asking you, right? Get in there and dig deep. Yes, the different things that we talk about can be a little hard, right? They could be a little challenging for you to work through, but if you dig deep and you do the work when we are in these sessions and we are hanging out each week, you are going to notice some small, maybe even some larger shifts that will have such a huge impact for you. All right, so text isn't going out. I don't know why it's not going out, so I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling here because it's important to just move forward, because I have a lot that I want to share with you today. One thing to know is that I specialize in helping you recognize your victim stories and then helping you stop that cycle by teaching you new habits to start telling your survivor story. All right. So instead of constantly telling your victim story, you're going to learn how to tell your survivor story that empowers you and those around you, while also showing you how to acknowledge when you're having a hard time without it becoming a victim story, right? Because this isn't about not having a hard time. It's not about life not having hard moments. It's about how to consciously choose survivor in those moments. And also, when you're not in those moments, how to create habits that help you shift from victim to survivor. So if you want to learn more about how to do that with your life, your situation, the journey that you're on, all you need to do is drop hashtag survivor in the comments and I will send you a message. If you don't know who I am, I'm Power Coach Alicia, and I help you heal your soul by teaching you my AWC process that allows you to know whether or not you have the capacity to give to others before saying yes. And then I also teach you how to do that without feeling guilty if you do have to say no. And I'll teach you how to not sabotage yourself as well. So if you want to learn more about how to do that and implement that in your life, just type survivor in the comments. Now, one thing that I want to share with you that really comes to mind is a lot of times when you're stepping forward in this journey of healing your soul and saying yes to yourself and doing this work, it's like your mind says, I want to do this. Your mind says, I'm going to step forward and I'm going to take this action. So you do that. And when you get in that energy, your ego will come up and be like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this work. We're not making this transformation. We're not any of these things, right? And so it really just stops you from moving forward. And this reminds me of my client, Chanel, who, she stepped forward for herself. She said she was ready. She said she was all in. And then when she started her healing journey, it was like she was really faced with if she was really all in, if she was really going to do the work, if she was really ready to let go and move forward. And over time, and us working through it and taking the actions and making the effort, she was able to make such amazing strides and shifts in her life, from starting to gain weight when the doctors were telling her that she was constantly losing weight and that it was completely unhealthy for her and it was going to land her in the hospital, to being able to create a strong relationship with her partner, let go of the people in her life, including family members that weren't good for her, to make career shifts and changes that were better for herself and her health, all the things that she wasn't able to do before starting her soul journey in the Ignite Your Soul program. Another amazing thing that I was so proud of with Chanel is when she first started working with me, she was stuck in bed and really not able to take action and do anything in her life besides get up and go to work. So she would get up, she would go to work, she would come home, go to bed. Like that was her, path. That's what she was doing over and over and over again. And she was able to create a quality of life for herself, get off of her anti-anxiety meds and off of her antidepressants, and really create a tribe around her that lifted her up instead of a tribe that she felt like she was always trying to live up to. So if you're really ready to step into that power and you want that help and you want that support, I am here for that for you. That is what I specialize in. So drop #survivor in the comments and I'm happy to help you with that. Now, a lot of the time when I'm working with people, they have no idea that they are repeating their victim stories. And the challenge with that is it's holding you back from healing your soul. So I first want to share with you what a victim story is, and then we're going to dive deeper into this. All right. So a victim story is the traumas and the demons of your life that you have been through that you tell people. You guys don't know what I'm doing. You haven't been to one of these lives. I'm just saging here. And then I'm going to get my Palo Santo. We're going to really set the energy and the tone for this session. So it's very powerful for you. Now, you think that it's a way to move forward, right? And you sharing these stories stops them from paralyzing you because of the detriment that they caused you. And, that is partly true. But by sharing them, that's partly true because by sharing them, you are able to stop them from paralyzing you. But what you aren't told is how much detriment telling these stories are doing to your future life. So yes, they're stopping you from paralyzing yourself and getting stuck in the mundane and the negative of them and how they've destroyed you and the journey and the traumas and the demons. Yes, that is all true. Except for they're doing a lot of detriment for your future life. You see, these victim stories you've told so many times makes it hard for you to decipher what's an old story and what's true for you now. When you're constantly, hey Morgan, when you're constantly telling these victim stories, you cannot decipher what's an old story and what's true for you now. And if you can't decipher what's an old story and what's true for you now, you're making your old life your current life. And you're repeating that cycle over and over and over again. Plus, every single time you tell your stories, you're renewing the trauma within your soul and creating a repeat of that cycle. So it's like renewing this detriment to your soul. And then you come to me and you say, I'm stuck. I look in the mirror. I don't recognize myself. I don't like my life. I don't know how I got here. And part of that is the stories that you tell other people all the time, right? And how they are not helping you, that they're that detriment to your soul. Now, I would definitely say that between shoving your feelings in a box, your journeys, your traumas, your demons in a box, and ignoring them, and then the opposite side of talking about them is way more healthy than shoving them into a box. Okay. So I'm not saying that talking about them is bad. What I'm saying is It's bad when it becomes a natural part of conversation that you're bringing up on the regular. That's what makes it bad. And when you continually repeat these stories, it renews all the internal emotions and all of the shit and all of the trauma that was there that goes along with them. So again, you're just renewing that destructive soul contract when they become a natural part of your conversation that you're bringing up on the regular. Okay. It's like reliving them over and over again. Now, don't get me wrong. If you've met someone new, and as part of them understanding your journey and what got you here, plus how you operate, is sharing them with them what you've been through, that's one thing. Because there are things that have happened in our life, right? There are our journeys that shape our life and our future. Hey, none of that. And when you meet somebody new, if it is important that they know these things so they know why you operate this way, why you show up this way, and what you need, then you've got to share that with them. But if you're constantly bringing it up as a way to tell someone why your life is the way that it is, or why you are the way that you are, and why everything is falling apart, and wham, 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 blah, 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 that is a victim story. I always say this, and I will say it again. What you went through helped you build the person that got you to this point. It serves no purpose in building the next level version of you. Let me say it again. What you went through helped you build the person that got you to this point. It serves no purpose in building you to the next level version of you or helping you build the person to get you to your next point. If you use the same journeys, the same traumas, the same demons and stories and struggles, and all of that that you went through years ago as your stepping stone today, you will be stepping down instead of stepping up. If you use the same journeys, traumas, demons, stories, and struggles that you went through years ago as your stepping stone today, you will be stepping down instead of stepping up. Do you hear me? So powerful. Yeah, that's a great point, Morgan, from Mel Robbins. You're never going to create something new from what you already know. You're never going to create a new life living in the shit of the past life that gave you the strength to be here today. Doesn't make any sense. You got to move through that, right? You got to allow that to be for you what propels you to the next level and leave it where it is. And another thing that I think is really important to mention is that every time you retell your victim story, you're not only renewing that and rewriting the same story of your life over and over, it's also what's stopping you from building the life you want, stopping you from feeling whole in your soul. And it's what's making you saying things like, when it rains, it pours. I can never catch a break. This is just how my life is. My life has been a disaster for however long. Whatever statements you constantly say to yourself that keep you stuck, right? You see, you can't attract things into your life that you are not on the frequency to attract. And a surefire way to stay or get on this frequency of a shit show of a cycle of your life is to tell the stories that bring you down to that level so that all that shit can attach to you. So what I'm saying is you can't have an amazing life filled with abundance, love, and peace where your dreams come true when you're on an emotional frequency of disaster. You cannot have an amazing life filled with abundance, love, peace, and where your dreams come true when you're on an emotional frequency of disaster. And in order to shift off that emotional frequency of disaster, you need to learn how to redefine what those past moments that you've been through mean to you now, and then release them from you forever. Do they mean anything now? Or did they mean something to get you to a certain point, and then you stepped up to go into the next level version of you while still allowing them to be your roadmap? Like, if you have a map from 30 years ago that you are using to get from Utah to, I don't know, Florida, are you going to still get to Florida? Yeah, you're still going to get to Florida. Is there a better path? Is there a better way? Is there an easier way to go? Maybe. It's like this. From the path from Utah to Florida, there's a tons of different ways to go, but there's really only two ways you would go if you want to just get to destination. You go through Tornado Alley, which is like Nebraska, Oklahoma area, somewhere fucking over there. I don't know geographical very well, but it's like that way. Or you go through fucking Texas, right? Texas is the faster route. Is it? No. Tornado Alley, I believe, is the slightly faster route. But you've got to deal with tornadoes every step of the fucking way. If you've ever been in a vehicle in a tornado, it is fucking terrifying. If you've ever driven from Florida to Utah, Utah to Florida through Texas, it literally feels like your entire lifetime driving through the state of Texas. It is the most ungodly, boring state drive in your life. People don't know how to fucking drive. The freeways are psychotic. So you have a choice. You can go through Tornado Alley. Yeah, that's what I thought. You can go through Tornado Alley where your anxiety is through the roof. Your stress is through the roof. Your life is flashing before your eyes. If the wind picks up at all, you feel like you're going to pass out, right? And get there faster. Or you can go through Texas where it almost seems like everything slows down and it gives you that opportunity to be in the moment and to, I don't know, like enjoy that time, to stop time of the busy life and world that is going on. Which way are you going to go? Right? So a map of 30 years ago will get you from Utah to Florida, Florida to Utah. And probably back then, that map wasn't going to tell you the faster direction. It was a paper fucking map, right? So the chances of you going through Texas, let's say, are probably slim to none. You probably would have went through the other way, right? For whatever reason. You would have went through Tornado Alley. You could see the distance on the map. You plotted the point, but you had no idea, one, that it was Tornado Alley, all right? You probably didn't know that. And two, because of the inches on the map, it showed that it was the faster route. So what am I saying to you here? Yes, you can use your old map to move your life forward, but there's probably going to be a lot of disaster and a lot of tornadoes. Do I keep calling it Hurricane Alley? I'm used to Florida. You're going to find that there is a lot of pit stops along that way in places that you didn't have any plan on stopping, right? The fastest way is not always the best way. Living with an old map is not always the best way to get that end result. Yeah, you're going to get there, but what is it going to cost you? What is it that you're going to go through? How much detriment is it going to be for you? Right? So I say, move forward to where we live now, whether it's digital maps and they're always being updated. Why are they always being updated? Because there's always roads being added. There's restaurants and gas stations and things to see along the way that light you up and that teach you something and bring you joy. But you're not going to know that on an outdated map. You're never going to stop there. You're never going to see it on an outdated map, right? We live our life in such a way that we want new, we want more, we want better, but we want all of that staying the same. Victims live in victimhood, wondering why they don't live a life of abundance, wondering why this shit always happens to them, wondering why they can never catch a break, wondering what they did wrong. And you know what the truth is? Most victims don't realize they're victims, that they're being a victim, that they're living in that world, in that energy, in that mindset. If you don't pay attention and you just think, oh, I'm a survivor, I've made it through this and I made it through that and I made it through this and I made it through that, I'm a survivor. No, 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 you're not. Let's be clear. The fact that you're alive and standing does not make you a survivor. The fact that you're alive and standing just said you made it through. That doesn't mean you're living. That doesn't mean you're whole. That doesn't mean you're full. That doesn't mean that you're at peak. Doesn't mean that you're fucking showing up. Doesn't mean that your life is quality. Somewhere along the lines, there was a big distortion that happened. And that distortion was that when you made it through the hardest times that, you know, brought you to your knees, that you didn't think you were going to be able to make it out of, that you're a survivor. And I call complete and utter fucking bullshit. That is not what defines a survivor. You physically survived, but you're living dead. You're physically survived, but you have no quality of life. You physically survived, but you're wondering what the point is in being alive. You're physically survived, but you're dragging everybody around you down. You physically survived, but you're a blood-sucking leech. That is not a survivor. That's a victim. And so I'm here to tell you, the people who tell you that you're a survivor because you made it through the hardest of times, they lied to you. You're not a survivor because you've made it through the hardest of times. You are a survivor when you fight like hell to live and be and show up in life in an energy that feels good in your soul in spite of what you've been through, in spite of your journey, right? My mother is the definition of a survivor. The definition. The life that she's been through is so unbelievable. And I hope that one day she does finish her book, because most of her book will make you cry. Most of her book will make you wonder how the fuck this human is still alive from her near-death experiences, still alive from almost being killed, still alive from not committing suicide. Like, it makes you wonder why she's here. It's like most of you think you've had one of the hardest lives that you could imagine anyone having. And I promise you, she's had your life plus worse. The thing about this woman is she's a fucking survivor. A survivor in her soul, in her physical, like everything. She doesn't live in those places. They aren't why her life is the way it is, or why it's not the way that she wants it to be. It's not why she was the mom she was, or why she wasn't the mom that she wanted to be. It's not why she made the mistakes she has, or why she hasn't made the mistake. Like, it's not a thing. It's not a define. It's not anything but what it is for what it was at the time that it was. And that's one of the hardest lessons you will ever learn, is allowing things to be what they are for when they are, as they are, because of what they were meant to do for you at that point. You see, because they didn't end you, they gave you strength to get through. But now that you're through, they actually make you weak and pull you backwards. So what I want you to ask yourself right now is, have you been living as a victim, believing that you're a survivor because of what you've been through? Or are you actually a survivor? So type victim or survivor. Be honest with yourself. The reason why you must be honest with yourself is because you can't do anything about it. You can't move through it. You can't grow through it until you tell yourself the fucking truth. I used to think I was a survivor for way more years than I actually was. I actually didn't become a survivor until about 2 years ago, really, truly, like a soul survivor. 2 years ago. I'll tell you a story. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I had a horrible day and I destroyed my bathroom. This is the last time I've ever destroyed a physical space because I was angry. And up that point, I hadn't destroyed a physical space for probably 3 years, 2 years. I destroyed my bathroom. Like, I destroyed the Amazon Alexa. I broke every piece of glass I could find besides the mirror and the window in my shower. I mean, it was just a complete and utter disaster. And when I was all done destroying this space, I sat down when the door was closed, and I sat so nobody could come in, and I just cried and cried and cried for hours. And when Daniel used to feel helpless in our marriage and didn't know what to do to help me, he would call my mom, because she was the only person who could talk me back off the ledge without me, jumping without a parachute, right? She was the only one that could bring me back to center. And he's like, I'm going to call your mom. I was like, if you call my mom, I'm going to divorce you. So he didn't call her. And I sat on this bathroom floor and cried, like, for the longest time that I ever cried in my life. And you got to remember, I've buried my dad. I found my stepdad dead. I've been through some fucking shit in my life. And this is the longest time I've ever cried. And when I finally picked myself up off that floor, I stayed in that bathroom for months after. That was October of 2020, I believe. I stayed on that floor. I was still locked in that room. I was still crying. And then March of 2021, I just quit everything. I quit being a life coach. I quit being a direct sales coach. I quit showing up. I quit everything. And I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to go get a job. I didn't know if I was just going to be, a depressed stay-at-home mom. I didn't know. So I didn't make any decisions. I just told Daniel, if you don't pay the bills, we're going to lose the house. We're going to lose our cars. We're going to lose everything. I don't know what to fucking tell you. So he stepped up, did what he needed to do, got a job, because it was the end of our landscaping company season in October. So fast forward to March, I'm hanging out with my mom, and she's opened this store up in what we call the marketplace where we live. So she had opened this store. I was like, I want to open a store. I'm going to call it Soul Healing Zone. And the store is going to be me manifested in a store. All the things I love, all the things that make me happy, all the things that I like, that's what's going to be in the store. So for March of 2021 through August of 2021, I ran this store. I sourced products. I went to work every day. That's why there's this lotus behind me, because Daniel drew this beautiful lotus and painted it on the wall of my store. And I wanted this room to be a replica of that store. It's really like a quarter replica of that store, but it is. And I healed my soul from March to August in Soul Healing Zone. And it was probably about June that she got up off the floor of that bathroom and started to choose to survive, to live as a survivor, to find the power in her soul. I'd never been like that before in my life. I've had a lot of things that have happened that have brought me to my knees, but I've never felt like that before. I never felt so helpless, so alone, so just horrible. I used to explain it like this. People would say, how are you doing? I would say, I feel like I'm on a pool floaty in the middle of the ocean in a hurricane, and there's no one coming to save me. That's what I would say. Because I wasn't going to say good. I wasn't going to say I'm okay. I wasn't going to say that I was fine. I was going to tell people exactly how I felt. So that's what I would say. And being in a store next to my mom every day and spending time with her and just being and releasing the pressures of my life and not giving a fuck if it all fell apart, like somebody else could hold it up, gave me the time and the power and the energy to heal my soul. And it's not going to look the same for each and every one of you. Right? Quitting everything was what I needed because I had spent my whole life doing everything for everyone and holding everyone up. I was the breadwinner. I was the emotional, strength. I was everything. And I can handle it. I'm mostly like that today. I can handle it. I'm a very strong human being. But the reason why I was brought all the way down is because I was living as a victim, believing that I was a survivor, and just saying those fucking stories over and over and over again. But they didn't sound like everybody else's, so I didn't really recognize them, The way I treated myself, what I accepted around me, what I had settled for, it just literally killed me. The way people were with me. One of the things that hit me so hard was that when I was at the darkest times of my life, I had no one. I could have called my mom. So I had her. But it was like, what about all the other fucking people in my life that I have done so much for? At that time, I was going to bunko on a regular basis with a whole bunch of girls that said they loved me. Well, when I hit my rock bottom, they deleted me out of the friend chat and created a new one because they're like, oh, well, we just thought you didn't want to hang out anymore. There was only one of them that checked on me. Like, I am I like to hang out with people and be around people, but then I really don't. It's like a 50-50. And if you don't catch me in the right second, I'm not coming sort of thing. But when I am around you, I'm like high energy and life of the party. And I'm making everybody laugh and like captivating. And like, that's my personality. Like when I'm hanging around, I'm not like a fucking bump on a log that no one wants to be around. So if the person that you're used to being around all of a sudden stops showing up, the very first fucking thing you should do is reach out and see if they're okay. Yeah, that was the moment where I realized none of those fucking people were my friend. None of them except for the one. And she's really the only one I talk to today. For the most part, she's really the only one that knows what's going on, like how I'm doing, because at that moment, she was the only one that cared. And when I told them afterwards what had happened with me, oh, why didn't you reach out? No, fuck you. Why didn't you reach out? At the time, I had my spirit animal. That's what I call her. And she did her best for me. But she was in her own shit. So she couldn't be. So to me, I felt like I had no one. Except for my mom, who I've had my whole life. And it was bullshit. I would tell Daniel, I feel like I'm surrounded by all of these people who love me. Power Coach Alicia is so fucking amazing. I was doing my daily Power Up with Power Coach Alicia show at the time because of COVID. All these people who love me, but nobody even fucking knows. Like nobody's even fucking here. I have nobody, It's interesting to look back and like share this with you in the full, full story and the full light of it all. It's interesting to look back. Because literally when you are living, you believe that when you get up off your bathroom floor that you actually got up. You believe that when you open that door and you brush your knees off to face the world, that you actually brushed your knees off and faced the world. One of the hardest things for me in my healing, like that deep healing portion of my journey, was being honest with myself of where I really was. I stayed on that bathroom floor for a long time. And I was angry. I was angry that Daniel wasn't there. Yeah, he didn't know how to be, so he wasn't. I needed him there at a capacity that I needed him, not what he could give, exactly what I needed, because I was doing that for everybody else for so long. So I felt like the people who were closest to me should have been there for what I needed, not just showed up because, your life is a shit show, but so you're only going to give me what you can. No, I didn't need what you can energy. I needed someone to pour into me the way that I had poured into everybody else. And if you can relate to what I'm saying here, I'm not telling you that that's a good thing. Like that's okay. I'm not telling you that you're justified in that, because you're not. One thing that I learned in that journey is that nobody will ever, what the hell is that noise? It's just like a weird ticking noise over there. It's driving me batshit. Maybe there's a rat or something. I don't know. No one will ever be able to show up for me the way I show up for them. It's not going to happen. So in my healing journey, I realized that. I realized that that is an unfair expectation of other people. And there was a point in this journey where I was like, fuck this, then I'm not going to do this anymore. Yeah, well, the universe always has a different plan for me and how I show up for people. So that didn't work out. Yeah, exactly, Morgan. I've met one of the most beautiful souls I think I will ever meet in my entire life. In the lessons that I've learned. And one of the things that, and I was sharing this the other day, I don't know where, I don't know if it was here or in Ignite Your Soul a couple weeks ago, but we all have what we want someone to give us, or someone's to give us. It doesn't matter how they line up in your life, friends, soulmates, lovers, husband, kid, whatever. We all have what we want those people to give to us, how we want those people to show up for us. And this beautiful soul taught me that, one, you have to meet people where they are. So as much as you want them to be able to give to you at a level that you need, if they don't have to give that, you have to meet them where they are. And you have to accept them where they are and love them where they are. Because if you can't, then they shouldn't be in your life. That was hard for me. Because to me, I'm a rise up human. Well, why can't they? They need to fight harder. They need to work harder to be for them so they can be for others, so they can have their power, right? That's been my mentality. And then the next part of that is allowing them to give you what they can give you, and seeing that that's them giving everything that they actually have to give to you, even if it doesn't feel like what you need and want. It's another concept that I was like, what? But it's true. Like, how can you expect someone to give more to you than they have to give? How can you expect someone to show up more for you than they can show up, that they have the ability to? How can you expect someone to be for you in a way or something or give that isn't theirs to fill and to give and to do? Like, here's an example. You start dating someone new. Okay? You've been cheated on quite a lot. So you've got some trust issues, some cheating issues going on. And this person that you start dating gets along way better with females than they do with men. So every time they're on their phone, this is like 100% chance they're talking to another woman. The people in their life that they're closest to, that they've had the longest relationships with as friends and family, are women. You want to feel special as their actual partner in life. You want them to differentiate the things that they do for you and how they treat you and how they show up for you than they do these other people. Okay. Well, this person knows how they feel about you. So when they cook for you, when they spend time with you, when they buy you things, when they text you, they're doing it from a place about how they feel about you in a loving soul bond future sort of way for what you guys are building. But when you see them text and talk to other people, you're like, oh, well, that they sent that to me too. So I guess I'm not special. No. Something that I've learned is this. It's literally how that person feels about you on how that action is being shared with you. So just because it's the same sort of action, it doesn't mean that when they do it with you, it means the same to them as it does with the other person. But if you don't do your inner work, you don't let go of the fact that you're a victim and that you've been cheated on and that you have trust issues and that your past was such hell with most men that you were with, you will look at this beautiful soul and you will say, I'm so pissed off. I can't believe that I'm not special to you. You have all these other bitches. Fight, yeah? Who isn't going to start a fight over that? If you're watching this, the chance of you being pissed off that it doesn't seem like you're special is very high. But when you do the work for yourself and your soul, and you actually hear the person and you actually see what they're saying, you can understand that being special looks different if you're looking for it. Why do they have to text you different than they text somebody else if you're the one that they're laying in bed with at the end of the night? Why do they have to stop cooking for their other friends because they cook for you when they make their other friends whatever the fuck, but they make you a more gourmet meal? But you don't notice that. You just see it as cooking. Are you doing that in your own relationship with your husband or your partner right now? Maybe it's not new, but you have these triggers and these past and these things that you're actually a victim over, yet you believe you're a survivor and it's actually their burden and their problem and they need to change, right? Is it their burden and their problem and they need to change? Or are you not seeing the fact that because they're doing this, this is what they have to give. This is what they have to offer. And they're offering it to you because they love you. Do you need it a different way in order for them to prove that love to you? That's a you problem, not a them problem. Yes, your partner needs to take action that speaks your love language. Your partner needs to remember that acts of service doesn't make you want to jump their bones when your love language is being seen, heard, and understood, quality time, and then physical affection. They have to understand that. If you want lots of sex, we better fucking talk a lot. You running around here cooking fucking dinner and cleaning the house, not really going to do it for me. Because that isn't, actually, it's not going to do it for me because that isn't my love language. That's not what speaks love to me, right? But that doesn't mean that I can't adjust to see that this person is doing these phenomenal things for me, these amazing things for me that a lot of people, other people don't get because they do love me. Hopefully this makes sense. When you live in victim, you like literally obliterate so many things that are right in front of your face because you're expecting other people to do things in a way that you see it and only the way you see it. And that's it. And there's got to be a harmony with that. Some of the things they're doing is the way that you see it and the way that you feel it and the way that it connects with you. And their majority is going to be the way that they know how to show it. So the way that you feel it, see it, and it connects with 20%. And the way that they know how to show it is probably going to be 80%. And the adjustment comes in communication and understanding of meeting, you know, and flowing more so that it feels better, so that it's more connected, right? So take some time to really devour this session, because my stories and what I've shared to you, shared with you, you can see yourself in, you can hear yourself in. Maybe you're there, maybe you're in the bathroom, maybe you don't physically destroy a space, but that's where you are, locked in a bathroom on the floor. You won't let anybody in and you just can't seem to get up. Or maybe you've gotten up and you've walked out and you think that you are living, but you're still stuck in there internally. So how you get rid of the victim mentality and step into survivor, you got to be fucking honest with yourself. You've got to quit telling these stories about your traumas and your demons and your struggles and your journeys and all the things that you've went through. And you really need to step into this life that you are building now, this human that you are now, this person that all of that brought you to. Remember, the person that you are now, if you use them now, you will go backwards. You will step down because they are what got you here. What got you here won't get you there, right? Sure, you've heard that. It's spoken all over in the personal development world. So what's actually going to get you there is you embracing this soul now. You loving and accepting this soul now. You growing with this soul now. You feeding this soul now. And going on your next level journey, your next level journey, your next level journey. You're always going to be doing a level of healing your soul. It doesn't always look like the destruction of your life crashing down around you in the bathroom, sitting in front of the door. But you will go through those moments. The question is, will you rise a survivor or will you arise a victim? And now this is another story that you tell. See, when I share that story with you, it's not a story about that journey is what's caused me to struggle. That journey was what caused me to go to the next level. She died that day. She's gone. The woman that I was before that happened, I'm not even like close to her. My foundation will always be the same. Let's be real. But my boundaries, my standards, my expectations of myself, the people I let into my life, how much I give to them, how much I show up for them, my expectations of other people, how I love other people, how I accept other people, how I grow with other people, how I mold with other people, how I allow my soul to connect with people in ways that, fill me up, how whole I really am inside of me, and what I don't need someone to do to make me feel whole. I'm very clear on how much I pour into others and how much I need to be poured into in order for me to keep that relationship going. I do not give a fuck if your life is busy. If you can't take time out every now and then to check in with me, and I'm the one always doing that with you, I'm pouring way too much more than you're pouring, and I'm not going to do it. You using the excuse that your life is busy is not okay with me. And when I say check in with me, we're literally talking a couple times a month. We're not talking about every single week. I'm going to give you leeway. I'm going to be fair. I mean, if I'm checking in with you weekly or 3 times a week and you're checking in with me a couple times a month, I'm going to keep making effort. Would I like to see it be more often than that? Would I like to be more important than that to you? Yeah. But I'm going to be okay with that. If I'm always the one making the effort because of your life, I'm sorry. I'm done. And then the second that I stop, I don't ever hear from you for a month or 2 months and there's no effort, I'm good. I'm good. Right? I'm not going to keep pushing myself to have people in my life that don't want me in theirs. They don't have space for me in theirs, right? There's a whole other fucking training that I can do. So as we wrap up this session, the very first thing I want to ask you is, what was your number one takeaway? What was something that you heard today that you loved, that connected with you, that was like powerful for your soul? Because I know that I have shared so much today. And so that's the first thing that I want to know. And I want you to shout that out in the comments, because it's important that when you're in these sessions, you walk away with something that really, really connected with you. And remembering that this is something that I specialize in, going from victim to survivor. getting yourself up off your own proverbial bathroom floor to fight for yourself and to heal your soul and to put yourself first. I'm going to teach you those habits so that you can shift into those survivor stories. And when life happens and things happen that can take you to victim, I'm going to show you how to continue to shift and shift and shift. Because if you live in victim, your life will be your version of a disaster, right? Living in survivor, disasters happen, but you can move through them and use them to grow yourself and to help other people. So if you want support and help in your healing soul journey, just type #survivor in the comments, and I'll shoot you a message and we'll chat a little bit. If you want to get a reminder text of when I go live, whenever my text messaging service stops being asinine, just text the word soul to the number 41372. And if you're ready to like step into the power of learning when you can say yes and when you can say no without feeling guilty or sabotaging yourself, or avoid depleting all of your energy by giving of yourself to everyone else, again, just type #survivor in the comments. The very last thing that I want to ask you is, what is one action you are going to take from this session in your life today? Your one action of something you heard today and a change that you are going to make for yourself. What is that one action? Okay. So the first thing was, what's your takeaway from today? Something that really connected with you. And the second thing is, what's your one action? That thing you're going to do for you, because you're not just here to listen to me talk to you. You're here to change your life. So if you're going to change your life, you have to actually do something that will make that change. Morgan says her takeaway is, expecting someone to show up for you in the same way they show up for you is not, or the same way you show up for them is not the answer. Yeah. Or expecting someone to give you something different than what they give somebody else when that's all they know how to give, but the reason why they're giving it to you is a different reason than why they give it to them, right? And Morgan's action is to be with herself, with just herself, and focused on the here and now. It's very easy to future trip, and it's very easy to get stuck in the past. What do they say? The past is already gone. The future is not here yet. And the gift is now. That's why they call it a present. Even if that's not the quote, it's damn fucking close, right? The past is already gone. The future isn't here. The gift is now, and that's why it's called the present. So be mindful. Danielle Lepore always says, no future tripping, right? Stay here now. If it's going to be destroyed, if it's going to be over, if it's the end of it all, if it's this blah, 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 and that's what happens in the future, then that's what fucking happens. And my quote, and I can't remember it fully, but it's something along the lines of, when you live in the past, it destroys your present and you never get to the future that you actually wanted. Something along those lines. Or if you live in the past, it destroys your present and your future becomes the present that you live. Either one of those things. That's somewhat of my quote. It's in my Shift Happens program. So we'll be back here next week. You're going to be with my lead accountability coach, Morgan. And next week, Morgan is going to be talking all about her lessons learned in relinquishing control and feeling into your day, right? She just got done sharing, like, needs to be more present, needs to be here and now. There's so many lessons you learn along your journey and shifting into the next level version of you. So make sure that you come back here next week, because this is going to be really, really powerful, of relinquishing control and feeling into your day, and her sharing her lessons and her growth and her experiences right now. Because relinquishing control and feeling into your day, I can tell you, will always be something you have to work on, because your ego takes over and wants to be in control, right? And wants to run the show. And when the ego's running the show, you're not feeling into your day. And when you're in control, the ego's running the show. So it's going to be an amazing session with her next week. I'm going to Florida. I'm going to sit at the beach. I'm going to have some soul time with myself. I can't fucking wait. And as we wrap up here, I want to say this. Make sure you say yes to yourself more than you say yes to other people. It's always about progress, not perfection. And the best and most amazing thing you can ever do for yourself is to give yourself some grace. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.